Hello, dear aspirants. A very warm welcome to banking English classes. Dear friends, as usual, today we are going to solve a few questions on new types of errors. These errors are usually asked in banking exams, and hence it is advisable for all students, for all of you who are watching the video, to watch till the end. I am sure you will end up learning a lot. Let's get started. The session is going to be amazing. So please stay tuned, stay connected till the end. Now let us read out the instructions first, because instructions play a very vital role. Some of the students, they go wrong in reading and in understanding the instructions. Consequently, as a result of which they face many problems. So I would first advise all of you to read the instructions very carefully and very thoroughly. Let's get started. There are 4 sentences given in each question. As you can see, there are 4 sentences. Find the sentences which is or are grammatically correct and mark your answer choosing the best possible option among the 5 options given below each question. So the instruction says that 4 sentences are provided for you. Out of those 4 sentences, we have to find out the sentence which is grammatically and logically correct. If all sentences are correct, choose E as your answer. If you think that there is no error in any of the sentences, then you must choose the last option, that is option number E, as your answer. Right? Okay, so I am sure you all have thoroughly understood the instruction. Now the time to start. Let us go to question number 1, option number 1. It says, with a little industry. A little carries a positive meaning. You must be knowing it very thoroughly. A little, right? There is a difference. There is a big, huge difference. A little carries a positive meaning and it refers to at least some quantity of something. And dear students, mind it that little, a little, or the little, they are always used before an uncountable noun. A little carries a positive meaning and refers to some quantity of the uncountable noun that has been referred to, while little carries a very negative meaning. So the sentence talks about a little industry. Industry here is uncountable and refers to hard work. With a little hard work and perseverance. Perseverance means relentless effort, ceaseless effort, continuous effort, right? So with a little industry and perseverance, with a little hard work and relentless effort, wonders might be done in this country. We can create wonders. We can achieve the unachievables. We can achieve that which seems to be a dream for others. The sentence is absolutely grammatically and logically correct and hence does not need any correction. Now, let us move to the next option. Almost any job can be shaken off in time and with perseverance, right? So it says the sentence conveys the meaning that any job, no matter what the job is or the nature of job is, it can be shaken off. Shaken off is the third form of shake off. Shake off, you must be knowing, right? To shake off somebody means to tremble somebody. To create some movements in him or her. Almost any job can be shaken off. The sentence is in passive form. Here, any job functions as the subject, and as you can see, can here has been used as a modal auxiliary, then followed by be and verbs third form shaken off, right? In tie and with perseverance. So here tie and perseverance are the object, right? Tie is an object. it is the object of the preposition in. Similarly, perseverance is the object of the preposition with. Absolutely, the sentence is flawless, and it's a mind-blowing sentence again, and a correct sentence, and doesn't have any error in it. So now let us move on to the third option. It is an interrogative sentence. As you can see, the sentence ends in a question mark. Can we rely on the constancy and perseverance of the people? Right? Can we rely? Okay, can we rely on means can we depend on? Can we count on? Please do remember it. Rely on means depend on, or a beautiful phrasal verb you can remember, that is count on. Okay, so can we depend on the constancy and perseverance of the people? Okay, absolutely correct. The sentence ends in a question mark. It talks about depending upon someone's consistency and perseverance. As I told you, perseverance means relentless effort. So now the sentence again is absolutely correct and doesn't need any correction. Let us go to the last option of this question. As you can see, the sentence starts with a rule of inversion. I am sure everybody knows what a rule of inversion is. A rule of inversion structure is that structure where we find the helping verb of a particular sentence being used before the subject in that sentence. Right? What I mean to say is, whenever you see the helping verb of a particular sentence or a tense is used, or it comes right before the subject in that sentence, it is called as, or it is known as, it is called, or it is known as the rule of inversion. So here it talks about, a little did I know that he would create such a ruckus. Ruckus means an unpleasant shouting, or you can say hullaballo. Okay, ruckus is synonymous with a beautiful word, that is hullaballo, an unpleasant uproar. Okay, so now let us go to the sentence. It says, a little did I know. The speaker of this sentence says he had very little idea or very little information that another person would create such an uproar, a disturbing atmosphere or disturbance. So I told you a few minutes back here, a little carries a positive meaning. So now here in the last sentence, last option of question number 1, the speaker means to say that he had very little idea. That means we have to use little instead of a little. Right? So now we got the answers and we have to find out which one is the correct answer. Correct answer option is D. That is 1, 2 and 3. The fourth one, the last option, is absolutely incorrect, and hence it stands eliminated. Let us go to the next question. Question number 2, as you can see, it has also got 4 options, beautiful sentences, some small ones, some big ones, and there are some challenging sentences as well. We are going to overcome all the challenges by applying our strategy. The good you are at grammatical skills, the better is going to be your scores in this section. So try to have a very good hold on grammar. It is absolutely very, very necessary, okay, for your success. The people who come from here will be something to deal with. Right? Absolutely true. It talks about some people coming from a particular place and there will be something to deal with. Okay, something here doesn't mean, you might be getting some doubts that how can we say something to refer to, how can we use something here to refer to people. So here it means to say the people who come from a particular place will be something, means a kind of a sort of difficult to deal with or easy to deal with. In that sense it has been used, and absolutely it carries a proper sense, and grammatically there is no error in the sentence. So we can retain it without any second thought. Now let us go to option number 2. A good deal of. Please to remember, whenever we start a sentence with a large number of, or a good number of, or a good deal of, right? As you can see, a plural noun has followed. A good deal of pains, and the predicate part that starts from is absolutely wrong, because here there is an error in terms of subject and verb agreement. And we know in English, if the subject is singular, the verb has to be singular, and if the subject is plural, the verb has also to be plural. So now the predicate that starts with a verb should be plural in order to agree with pens, which is a plural noun here. Okay, since pens is plural, the subsequent, the next predicate or the verb that we are going to use here should also be plural, and hence instead of is we must use are, right? A good deal of pens are not working. So here is an error in option number 2, and as I said, option number 1 is absolutely correct, and hence no need to correct it again. Now let us go to question option number 3. They have managed to seal a good deal. They have managed to seal a good deal. Okay, and again, as I said, it is also absolutely correct. They have managed, as you can see, this is in present perfect tense. Here they functions as a subject, have the helping verb, managed V3 form or past participle of manage. To seal a good deal, absolutely grammatically correct sentence. So no need to correct it again. Now let us go to option number 4. It would cost a deal of hard labor. That means all that it requires is a bit of hard work. Okay, and Captain Fishley would be the only gainer. And out of this hard work, one person is going to emerge victorious. Gainer. He is going to end up gaining a lot, and this person is Captain Fishley. Again, the sentence is absolutely a fantastic, a beautiful sentence, and there is no error in option number 4 as well. So what we found here, option number 1 is correct, option number 3 is correct, and option number 4 is correct as well. So now 1, 3 and 4th, 1, 3 and 4th you can find in option number C. So now we are going to question number 3. The secretary and treasurer were not present at today's meeting. My dear friends, as you can see, here secretary is written and here treasurer is written. In between these two common nouns, you can find a coordinate conjunction and, right? So all that I want to say is, if you find two common nouns, two singular common nouns being joined or connected by and, okay, and if only one article has been used before any of these two common nouns, then those two common nouns become one person. Okay, let me repeat. If two singular common nouns are connected by and before the two common nouns we have used the article the. For example, you can see here, before secretary the has been used, but before treasurer no article has been used. Clear? That means here the person who is the secretary, okay, secretary and treasurer is the same person. Okay, one article before two common nouns will indicate that the person referred to here is the same person. The secretary and treasurer refers to one person, okay, whose job is at the same time to act as a secretary and at the same time he functions as the treasurer. Okay, if instead of using the before secretary, if it were written like this, the secretary and the treasurer, then we would use where, and in that case the sentence would absolutely be correct, right? What I mean to say is, before two singular common nouns, if we use the before each one, for example the secretary and the treasurer, in that case only, okay, these two people become two separate entity, and they hold two positions, one the post of secretary and the other the post of the treasurer. But here, unlike that, we have used the only before the first common noun, that is secretary. And here what we understood, if before two singular common nouns only we have used the once, then those two posts belong to one person, and a person here who is secretary, he is the treasurer. Absolutely correct. So here it is grammatically wrong. In place of where, we must use was. The secretary and the treasurer, that means a person who is the secretary, he is the treasurer, was not present at today's meeting. Clear? Then let us move on to option number 2. She beckoned to him. She beckoned to him means when you beckon to someone, that means you indicate by your physical gestures. She beckoned to him, but he took no notice, but he couldn't see her beckoning to him. Not desiring to be disturbed at present. The person who didn't take notice to someone's beckoning probably did it deliberately. He did it deliberately because he didn't want to be disturbed at that particular moment. Most probably he was preoccupied with some important work, right? So now, question number 3, option number 2, it is again absolutely correct, so no need to recorrect it. Let us now move on to option number 3. Ramu closely resembles to his father. Here is a big error, right? And please do remember that resemble is a verb. Resemble is a verb. Its noun form is resemblance. Okay, resemble means to look same, to look alike, or to look similar. For example, if you resemble your father, that means both your father and you look similar, look same. And please do remember, resemble is a transitive verb. Okay, resemble is a transitive verb, and transitive verbs never take any preposition after them. So hence, what should we do? We should strike it off what? The preposition to being used after resemble. So now we have found out 2 errors so far. This one is incorrect, and coupled with that, this one is also incorrect. Let us go to option number 4. Emotion passed over their features like ripples over a stream. Absolutely correct sentence. Emotion, what does they do? What did they do? They passed over, they transmitted their features like ripples, the water waves you must have seen over, when we throw a pebble onto the water in the river, you can see the mark, okay, the wave in the water being created immediately, and the wave keeps spreading on the water for time being. So that is known as ripples over a stream. Okay, stream means a flow of water, right? Absolutely, the sentence is correct. Here we have noticed 2 sentences which are grammatically wrong. That means option number 2 and option number 4, they are grammatically correct. And our job is to find out those sentences which are grammatically correct. So let's find out the options. It becomes much easier right now, and the correct option is none other than option number C. Okay, so now we are switching over to another question, that is question number 4. It is a beautiful question again. Being occupied, you can see being occupied, the passive structure, with important matters. Someone is occupied loaded with some important matters. He had no leisure to see us since a person was having a lot of work, and that's why he found it very hard on his part to come and meet us, to see us. Absolutely, what? Correct or incorrect? That is what we are going to check it now. Okay, so now let us see if it is correct. Yes, it is correct. There is no error in this part. Now let us go to option number 2. If it were possible to get near when one of the volcanic eruptions take place, as you can see, there are two clauses here. In the total sentences, there are two important clauses. One, the if clause, and the other one is the main clause. Okay, the sentence starts with an if clause, right? And the if clause starts right from the beginning of the sentence and it ends there in here in this part. It says, if it were possible to get near when one of the volcanic eruptions take place, we should see a grand sight. In fact, there are actually three clauses, if you can notice. From if to this part, it's one clause. From when to take place, this is another clause. And from this part to this part, this is another clause, the third clause. Okay, and let us find out the subject of the first clause. Here is the subject, here is the verb. And here in the second clause, one acts as the subject, right? And take place acts as the verb. Okay, acha. We should see a grand sight. We should see a grand sight. Here again, we functions as the subject and should functions as the should plus see functions as the verb. So you might have understood that each clause, I told you in the last class and in the last session, that each clause will always have two important parts in it. One is the subject and the other one is the verb. And option number 2 of question number 4, it starts with a conditional sentence. And as you all know, conditional sentences are of various types. Mainly, there are 3 types of conditional sentences, although we have one zero conditional sentence which we hardly include in our list. Right? The first conditional sentence talks about an open condition, I am telling you. The second, it talks about your imaginary or possible condition, impossible condition, sorry. The third one talks about closed condition. Okay, so the one which is under discussion here, this one belongs to the second type of conditional sentence. And please do remember that under conditional sentence type 2, the if clause will always have a simple past structure. Please do remember, simple past structure. If clause will have simple past structure. If clause. I am talking about conditional sentence type 2. Conditional sentence type 2. This is known as imaginary condition, which is not going to be fulfilled anytime, right? It's not possible for the condition to be fulfilled. So now, under the conditional sentence type 2, if clause will have simple past structure, and please do remember the verb which we should use should be a subjunctive, a past subjunctive. If you do not know this, we do have several types of modes, subjunctive mode, indicative mode, imperative mode, right? And please do remember, under conditional sentence type 2, the if clause will have subject plus where or subject plus had. In case of be verbs, you always must use where instead of using any other be verbs, right? So what I said, the simple the main clause will have the another structure, that is subject plus would or subject plus should. Is that clear? Okay. Let me precisely remind you about this structure again. When it comes to conditional sentence type 2, which is otherwise known as imaginary condition, we will have two clauses. One if clause, the other one is main clause. The if clause will have simple past structure, right? Subject plus heard, or subject plus past subjunctive form of the verb. When I say past subjunctive, I mean to say the be verbs, and instead of using any other be verbs, you must use where, as I have already used here, right? And when it comes to the main clause will have, see, the main clause, this is the structure of the main clause. Main clause will always have subject plus would. Usually we use subject plus would plus V1, but you can also sometimes use subject plus should as well, right? So now let us directly go to this part, this sentence, and prior to that, let me erase it in order to make it visible for you all to see what I am going to explain. Okay, dear friends, so let us start from this part. If it were possible to get near, absolutely there is no error in this part. When one of the volcanic eruptions take place, see here in this clause, the subject, as I said, it is one. Okay, it talks about one volcanic eruption out of a series of volcanic eruptions, right? So one here becomes the subject, and as you can see, it is third person singular number. And if the subject is third person singular number in any sentence, we must use either s or es depending upon the context with the verb. So it should be takes place, right? So this is an error, obvious error. You must have noticed it and understood as well. Okay. So now this is an error. Let us see if option number 3 is error free or there is an error here also. I am better acquainted with the country than you. This is an error. Okay. Where is an error? The sentence should be I am better acquainted with the country than you are. Clear? Because if you don't use are here, the comparison, there is a, if you don't use are here, then what happens? We get a faulty comparison in the sentence. The faulty comparison takes place between the country and the person, you, right? So if I don't use are here, please try to listen to it mindfully. The problem in the sentence is that it gives us a wrong meaning, right? So what wrong meaning does it give? Let us first find it out. I am better acquainted with the country than you. The wrong meaning is that I am better acquainted with the country. I am acquainted. I have more acquaintance with the country, right? Then I have more acquaintance than I have acquaintance with you. Okay, so there is a faulty comparison here. We should compare either a country with, we can compare either two countries, or we should bring a comparison between two persons. But here the faulty comparison is that the comparison is taking place between a country and a person. So in order to remove this faulty comparison, actually we need to add here, after you we need to add are. Okay, so if we add are here, then the sentence will give a correct meaning, and the meaning will be I am better acquainted with the country. You are also acquainted with the country, but the way you are acquainted with your country, that shows that you are less acquainted with the country. I mean, you have less acquaintance with the country, less familiarity with the country. I have more familiarity. And since there is a comparison, we have used better here. Better is a comparative degree of good. Okay, this is clear. And now one must use his best efforts. If one wishes to succeed, it should be the answer. One must use his best efforts if one wishes to succeed. So here, let me tell you, dear friends, whenever you find a sentence, okay, starting with one, please do remember that one here functions as an indefinite pronoun. as an indefinite pronoun, right? If you are starting a sentence with an indefinite pronoun, then in the next part of the same sentence, if you find any other pronouns being used other than one or once, then that is absolutely wrong. So here, instead of his, we must use once, the possessive form of one. Please do remember, one is the subjective pronoun and its possessive form is once. This is possessive form of one. This is the subject pronoun. This is possessive pronoun. One, once. He, his. Okay. I, mine. So these are the pronouns. The possessive form of he is his. The possessive form of mine is mine. So it's a big topic, in fact, and it needs a lot of time to explain to you. But please do remember that for time being, that if you are starting a sentence with one, that is an indefinite pronoun, then in the same sentence, if you find any other possessive case or any other subjective case other than the possessive case or the subjective case of one, then you should strike it off. Okay, so now instead of his, what we should write? I said instead of his, we must use here once. Okay, his is a possessive form of he. We don't need his here because the sentence doesn't start with he. Okay, obvious? Acha. So now let us move on to the next part, the last question of this section. As a liberal, he had been interested in contemporary politics. Absolutely. As a liberal, absolutely correct grammatically. He had been interested. Interested is an adjective. Been is the third form of be verb. And the sentence is in past perfect structure. Okay. He had been. That means he was interested in contemporary politics. Okay. Because he was liberal. Absolutely correct. Let us go to next question, next sentence. Ample opportunity was given for explanation and apology for the insult. Ample here functions as an adjective. As you all know, an adjective always describes or modifies a noun that usually goes after it. Okay, though there are different functions. Ample opportunity, it becomes noun. Ample functions as an adjective. Absolutely correct. Opportunity is an uncountable noun, an abstract noun. That's why abstract nouns take singular verbs after them. Was given. Till this part, okay, till this part, the sentence is in passive form and the sentence has followed simple past, the passive form of simple past tense, right? Opportunity was given for what? For explanation. And for what? For apology. Apology noun, explanation noun, and both the nouns have been connected by and who is a conjunction, coordinate conjunctions. And from this part to this part, for the insult, this is a prepositional phrase. So the sentence is absolutely correct, and so also the first one, right? We are moving on to the third and the fourth sentences. Let us start the third one. Though the body is bulky, here the information is about the body. Of course, the body of a bird, because it talks about the wings, and it says that the body is bulky, quite heavy. Though it is heavy, okay, though is a contrast indicator. It is a subordinating conjunction, and absolutely whenever we start a sentence with subordinating conjunctions like though, although, as, since, because, okay, this the next line, the next sentence that follows this sentence should contain contrasting information, right? Opposite information. Though the body is bulky, it is yet light. Again, the body is, what is being said? The body is bulky, quite heavy, but at the same time it is light and easily sustained by the wings, and it is easily sustained. Sustains here means supported by the wings. The sentence is error free. The last sentence of the session, it is suggested that, okay, it is a passive structure of simple present tense. It is suggested. What is suggested? That a ring road, okay, should be built right? A ring road should be built. Again, this is another passive structure of the modal should. Why should a ring road be built? Because we want to relieve the congestion in order to decrease, okay, in order to reduce the congestion level, we must build a ring road. As you can see, the sentence contains two passive structures. The first one follows the simple present passive structure, and the second one is a passive structure of modal auxiliary should, right? Okay, so here are a few questions for the day. Thank you all for listening to us so patiently till now. Absolutely important sessions was going on, and I hope all of you will definitely agree with the fact that all that I am teaching these days are very important, right? And I am sorry, it is very important, and you all should try to focus on each particular piece of information that is being provided here in order to learn better. Thank you. As you can see here, all are correct, and hence option number A, B, C and D are eliminated. Thank you all for watching, and have a very good day ahead.